for the first time in my life, it is not considered weird to move a conversation very quickly from how are you to well, how are you building your immune system? We've never had people just nonchalantly talking about, I want to build my immune system. That is, I mean, I get chill bumps like that. That's an exciting development from this pandemic. And I hope that tail is a long tail. I hope that it goes a long, long time. I don't want anybody to get sick. I don't want anybody to die. But the fact that this has put immunological functionality and things like the gut and the microbiome. Yep. I mean, 10 years ago, if you said the word microbiome, what language are you speaking? Today, everybody knows the term. It's wonderful.
It really is. It's really fascinating. I think it's absolutely a step in the right direction. The immune system is something, and to your point, I wasn't paying attention to the immune system and what I can be doing to help improve my immune system prior to the pandemic. So I think it's a great thing that we're talking about it. And I know it's something that you've talked about publicly too, is you having a very strong immune system. I think you've shared before that you haven't been sick in like 20 years. What are some things that you're doing to build your immune system?
Well, I think there are two lists. One is a don't do list, and one is a do list. One's negative, one's positive. So if you start on the negative, I don't drink soda, I don't smoke, I drink very little alcohol, and I don't eat fast food, I don't eat junk food. Look, everybody needs a Hershey's Kiss, once a month, okay? But there's a difference between that and eating, 2 candy bars a day or whatever. So go light on that. And of course, we eat mostly from our garden and our own stock. So, unprocessed, basically eating unprocessed, and not eating the junk. All right. So that's kind of on the negative side. On the positive side, so I already kind of went there. We try to eat, unprocessed. If you can't pronounce the ingredient list, put it back on the shelf. The ingredient list should be all pronounceable. Period. And that's one reason why Sina and I wrote the Beyond Labels book, was to help people to understand that labels are important, but what you're really after is, if the only relationship you have with your food is the label, you probably are not very connected. You want to go beyond it. And then beyond that, try to get a good night's sleep. I mean, I'm a sleeper. I mean, if I can get 8.5 hours, that's fantastic. I'm a crazy water drinker. I mean, I drink water. I drink like 3 quarts a day. I'm partly because, I've always, worked hard and sweated. And so I just have and nothing quenches your thirst. I mean, not Gatorade, not, power drinks, forget the Red Bull, just really good quality water is great. And exercise, try to sweat 20 minutes a day. If you're in the city, go for a constitutional walk, so 20 minutes of kind of some good perspiration there. And outside in the vitamin D, get some sun. And then the final thing I'll say is forgiveness. And this doesn't seem like it goes with food or anything, but I'll tell you, we live in a time of everybody's on edge, and goodness, laugh. I mean, watch a Laurel and Hardy. I Love Lucy. I mean, Mayberry, RFD. I mean, those tend to be my, but whatever comedy, just belly laugh a couple good times a day, laugh and forgive the people you hate. You can't change them anyway. Yep. And let that go. And so that's kind of on the positive list.
I love that. I think you've touched on so many great things. Sleep and hydration are things that most people think they probably are getting enough of, and they might not be, especially in America. Activity and walking is a great thing. And I'm really happy you talked about forgiveness and laughing, because laughter, we know it makes us feel good. It's got so many benefits. And I think, like you said, we live in a world where everybody seems to be divided. It's always like me versus you and us versus them. And it's just such a division. And I think that creates so much anger and tension between us that has really negative impacts on us. So.
Yeah, it does. A couple little specific things that I would just say, just to help your folks, appreciate that it's not just all big picture stuff. So we don't have a TV in our house. We don't have a TV. So we can go places to see a TV if we want to see a show or want to see something. But we just, I grew up without a TV. Teresa and I have never had a TV, and so it's a distraction for a lot of things in life. So anyway, no TV. And then another thing that I'm kind of becoming famous for is that routinely I drink out of the water tank with the cows. So the cows are on this side, and I'm on this side, and I just bend down and I drink just like the cows and drink out of the water tank.
Really?
They're dripping saliva and whatever. And now I don't do that if the water's a little bit murky or whatever, but if it's good, if it's well watered, good potable water, I do that on purpose, just to help feed, diversity into my microbiome. I mean, that's all. If I go pick a carrot in the garden, I don't go wash it off and dump chlorine on it. I just brush it off on my leg. And if I eat a few pieces of dirt, well, I can always envision in my mind, that all those little actinomycetes and gibberellins and mycelia come down into my gut, and they meet their second cousins, down in my gut, and they're, oh, hi, cousin, it's been a long time since I've seen you. They have this wonderful reunion down there between the soil and my gut, and I think there's a real benefit in just kind of living in that real close visceral relationship with our ecological womb. I think it's a very powerful thing.
Yeah, I think that's super important for the ability to build your microbiome. One thing that I'm a little concerned about with quarantine, and I understand people are staying at home and staying away from public places for a reason, obviously. But I do fear that maybe we're going to put our immune system at risk or in jeopardy of not strengthening that immune system because we're not around other people, we're not around other bacteria and certain things that will actually strengthen that gut.
Yeah, well, if you're aware of the hygiene hypothesis, the hygiene hypothesis is put out by a lot of allergists, and this is the premise of it. Now, and many allergist doctors have signed on to this idea. I'm not sure it's been completely tested, but it makes sense to me that your immune system is essentially a great big muscle. And, muscles atrophy if they don't get used. And so the hygiene hypothesis says we have become so clean and sanitary and antimicrobial that we're actually not exercising our immune system enough. And then when something comes in to assault it, it doesn't have the strength to combat that issue. This morning, we're getting late in the season, and one of our apple trees is finally making some ripe apples. So I walked by and picked an apple off the tree, and I didn't wash it. I didn't do anything. The whole thing, I just ate it exactly like it was. It might have had some ants crawling on it at one time. It might have had, who knows? This microscopic world. I mean, I tell people, if we could take an electron microscope and look at ourselves in that, all of us would have an aura like Pigpen in the Peanuts comic strip. You walk around with all this dust swirling around, and that's the way we are. And our systems are set up for my dust cloud to intersect with your dust cloud, and that guy's dust cloud and that guy's dust cloud, and it's in that intersection that herd immunity gets built, and our own systems become exercised.
Yeah, that's super interesting. To be careful we don't overprotect ourselves.
Yes. Yeah, babies. Babies don't develop immune systems growing up in a bubble. They crawl around on the floor and eat dust bunnies, and everything goes in their mouth. and but that's how they develop an immune system.